Today, we are going to use Brené Brown's book, Rising Strong, to get curious about our emotions. Hey, Be Mindful fam, yo estoy aquí en la República Dominicana, specifically in Punta Cana. I am here for a conference. If you saw my previous video, I am here for the Gulf and Caribbean Fisheries Institute conference. They hold it every year in a different part of the Gulf or Caribbean, and the purpose of that conference is to bring together stakeholders, government, scientists, and anybody involved in the science and management of the fisheries in the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean region to come together for the common cause of wanting more fish in the sea, more sustainable fishing, and a healthier environment. So the conference was the week prior to when I'm filming this video. What are your successes? What are your challenges? And I wanted to highlight one of the questions from that survey. And now it's the weekend and I have turned vacation mode on. I'm really excited to reset and just be an island vibe. Right now my Airbnb has no windows. I'm just open air. You got the palm trees out there. I feel alive. I'm taking this time to make sure that I'm using it wisely and I'm using it as a time to relax and also energize and just be in the moment. So I brought a book with me that I've been reading through. It's called Rising Strong. This book is by Brené Brown and she is fantastic. If you take anything away from this video, go YouTube her name and look up her TED Talk on vulnerability. She talks about why vulnerability is actually a really strong attribute and it's really not looked at like that, I think, in today's society. So she has a different approach to it. I just want to share with you guys a section of this book that I was reading today. I hadn't read this in a couple of months. I was kind of making my way through it, and then as you know, life comes and goes and you kind of just like get disinterested in things, but something told me to bring this book on this trip, and the section that I've been reading is just so fantastic. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it with you guys. She really talks about diving deep, looking inside to our emotions and just trying to understand them, and also just reframing the mind that it's okay to show emotions and be curious about them. So this whole section is on curiosity. Sorry for the shakiness. It's really important to be curious about our emotions and look on the inside and be curious about what's going on and what's going on with our life, and to be curious about our journey and know that it's not always going to be one way and it's ever changing. And instead of looking at anything like it's time wasted, just to harbor that curiosity and say that's never time wasted. Every bit of my life has made me exactly who I am today, and that's what's so amazing about the good and the bad times of life. Some people actually grow up curious about emotions, and this is because maybe their parents encouraged them to look deep into their emotion, or they went to therapy and they got external help to realize they should be curious about their emotions. But a lot of people grow up not really looking into the emotions, and if emotions come up, you push past them or whatever. I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about the types of hurt that people feel, meaning that they're barriers that we're just putting up to our emotions, and kind of how that impacts other people and how we can start to knock down those barriers, not just within ourselves but potentially others. And hopefully this will help you discover a little bit more about yourself, but also improve your relationship with others, because after kind of categorizing people's hurt, you can start to identify how they're hurting, and instead of taking some of their actions personally that they may do to you while they're hurting, you can have compassion for them and maybe try to change your communication based on understanding why they're hurting. So the first type of hurt is called a bouncing hurt, and this is really framed around the ego, and instead of just accepting the emotion, it just bounces right off of it. This is the type of hurt that says, I don't care, it's all about ego, it's an armor, it's not a lot of self-reflection happening, they don't like the discomfort of the emotions and they just shut off to it. Another kind of hurt is called numbing hurt, and these things might be very subtle. I encourage you to think about yourself if you're experiencing any of these types of hurt, and just try to just dive a bit deeper with yourself. Our life is just about self-exploration, and it all starts from inside, because everything we perceive about the world gets figured out inside of us, and we need to make sure that we're understanding a little more like what our brains and actions are really doing. So the numbing hurt, when you're just feeling pain or hurt, this could be anything. This is just not enjoying your life or your job, or this could be a specific incident where someone hurt you in the past, or any type of hurt we're dealing with now. People can feel hurt in many different types of ways, so I also encourage you to consider how people can feel hurt in these different ways. Even if you might not understand it, know that there's a wide variety of things that people can be struggling with. Everybody has their challenges. The numbing hurt, we numb the situation, we numb the pain, we numb the feelings by doing things and by indulging in things such as alcohol, food, drugs, relationship, money, work. And here's the part that is really interesting: caretaking, religion, chaos, shopping, planning, perfectionism, constant change, and the internet. So thinking about the times, and let's get candid here personally, where I need to feel like my life is perfect, or I need to plan and I need to be, and I'm always just thinking like, what should I be doing that's better? Where do I need to be? And I'm reading this book thinking maybe I'm just kind of numbing whatever is going on by just trying to plan and be and do and create something else that is just really like a band-aid for the problem. And that's where I'm trying to do some self-exploration, because band-aids are never a good idea. Like, getting in there through the hard times and sharpening your own tools for your toolbox for you to keep with you every day, especially for highly sensitive people and sensitives, because the bad days can be really bad and they can try to drag you down. But if you have that toolbox, every bad day you have gets a little bit easier, because you're like, no, brain, I see what you're trying to do to me, and I'm not falling for it this time. So that's numbing hurt. The next kind of hurt is called stockpiling hurt. And this is where you keep it in, you keep it in, you keep it in, and then in an instant, you could either burst out in a fit of anger or burst out in a fit of tears in scenarios where it seems like you're being a little over-exaggerating here, but instead of being over-exaggerated, it's just really a stockpiled hurt where you've kept it in, and this is where you may not be working on your own practices every day to deal with this stockpile. And I also think this is something that I experience from time to time, where if you lose that practice of your tools, your mental toolbox, which I need to get through the day. I have a lot of anxiety. I struggle with generalized anxiety disorder, and being a highly sensitive person, my anxiety goes very sensitive to it. And so I need those tools, and I've personally found myself losing the practice of the daily practice and really believing in the power of those tools and seeing them work. So I'm really using this as a time to reset and journal and do yoga and meditate. So whatever I'm feeling with whatever is going on isn't getting stockpiled. I'm tackling it each day instead of dealing with this intense emotion. Another type of hurt is the hurt and fear of high centering. And this is just basically avoiding hurt, whereas if you know that you're going to deal with it, you're almost afraid of everything that's going to come, that everything's going to be so focused on that one feeling and emotion, and that you're not going to be able to move away from that. If you let yourself explore and be curious with your emotions, and you discover an emotion that you don't like, you're afraid that you're not going to be able to jump ship to a happier day or a different emotion. And this is another type of hurt. And all of these types of hurt are able to be worked through via curiosity and just knowing how to understand yourself and work with yourself and be kind and gentle. So I wanted to give you a little quote here that she has in the book by Maya Angelou that says, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." And that is Such a great quote. So now that we talked about the types of hurt, I want to give you guys a couple of ways that you can work through that and reckon with your emotion. And the first thing you can do is give yourself a permission slip. Even if that's to be happy, give yourself a permission slip to just be in the moment and be happy, and that's it. You give yourself that permission. Everyone deserves that, and everyone has that power within themselves. On the flip side, when you're getting curious about your emotion, you're feeling sad and you want to say, no, not today, I've got too much to do, give yourself a permission slip. It's really important that we're healing what's going on while it's going on and being observant to that in a really non-judgmental, objective way, and say, today I'm feeling melancholy. I write myself a permission slip to feel melancholy today, but I'm not sitting there, I'm not unpacking and living. This is just how I'm feeling. You're getting curious about your emotions. The second thing you can do is just really be mindful and in the moment and pay attention to yourself and just breathe through whatever you're feeling. And you can do something called tactical breathing, where you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds and you hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out through your mouth for another 4 seconds. And hold for another 4 seconds. And this allows you to just really be present, focus on your breath, focus on that life force that you have that makes all of us alive, and just move it through you in a mindful way. I wanted to share with you guys the definition that Brené writes for mindfulness, and it's the definition that resonates with her the most, and it also really resonates with me. Mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, there is a right or wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune in to what we're sensing in the present moment, rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. Couldn't have said it better. And this is something with Be Mindful with Sarah I try to strive for, and it's difficult being a highly sensitive person, dealing with anxiety, dealing with a fast-paced lifestyle. But wherever you are in life, physically and mentally, being mindful will always bring you in the moment and always show you the strength that you have, and just teaches you to just live second by second and not think about the future, not think about the past. And that's where a lot of the worry and stress comes from. In conclusion, going inward, being curious about your emotions, looking inside, working through it, being gentle and kind with yourself are so important, and also recognizing that there are many different ways that hurt can appear within yourself or within somebody else that you are working with or as a family member. We'll deal with hurt all the time, and it's just important that we're kind to one another. First and foremost, that we're kind to ourselves, because when we love ourselves, when we understand our worth and don't need anybody to validate that, then we are able to be kind to others and understand what they're going through as well. Comment down below if you've heard of these types of hurt, or you're learning something from this video and you're excited to just explore more about your emotions, which we should all be doing, because the more our cup is filled up and we love ourselves, the more we can love each other in the world, and that is what this world needs. We need to heal ourselves, we need to be kind to each other, and we need to treat the environment in the same way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week on Be Mindful with Sarah.